Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to a special coronavirus edition of My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with my co-host, Nassau Community College student, Corey Kaufman, coming to you once again live via Zoom and being socially distant as recommended.
So many people want to know new ways to help during the coronavirus pandemic, but may not know the best way to do that. So we asked today's guests to come on the show and tell us the best way to do so.
Today we welcome Diana O'Neill, the Board of Directors member, treasurer, and retired executive director of the Long Island Volunteer Center, along with Evangeline Manjares, the Dean of Academic and Student Services here at Nassau Community College, who does a lot of work with the center. Diana and Evangeline, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
It's an honor to be here, Bill. Thank you for having me.
First of all, I'd like to ask both of you, in light of the coronavirus pandemic, how has this affected you personally? Let's start with Diana.
When I retired from the volunteer center, I took a job with a local hospital. So it became very clear and unbelievably life-changing to watch and being on the front line of heroic efforts to save people. I have newfound respect for all of the healthcare providers and workers and all that support them. So it was one of those opportunities that made it real for me and also made it relevant. That said, the volunteer center had to, because of social distancing and other necessary restrictions to keep everyone safe, had to take a step back, and we had to actually regroup. We had to ramp up a whole disaster arm to the volunteer center in order to provide effective support to all of the essential nonprofits doing simple things or basic needs like feeding vulnerable populations in at-risk communities. So we were channeling as best we could volunteers to assist in those efforts. We also created a COVID-19 page on the website to post any kind of volunteer needs that we became aware of in the community. And we are going to be rolling out a questionnaire to our nonprofit partners. We have 460 that can be found on the website that we work directly with to keep track of volunteer needs. That will be forthcoming. So just to kind of sum it up, it's been rough standing on the sidelines, to be honest, to pull it all together and be ready to roll out a more robust volunteer matching process. We're anxious and we're looking forward to it.
Well, thank you for all your work. How about you, Evangeline?
Okay, from my end, it was a little bit frustrating for me, of course, and some of the faculty members who we had planned to have a big day of service during the first week of April. So we had to be creative. We met as a committee and we thought about having a virtual day of service. And our theme was Be the Change. Brings us all together as we are distanced socially. So we thought about various programs virtually. We encourage our students to thank our healthcare workers and first responders by sending them messages and give thanks to our veterans and National Guards. And of course, you have heard about the Nest, which is our food pantry. We have encouraged people to donate food. And not only we talk about food, but we also try to distress ourselves. Now, we had yoga at noon on Tuesdays and stretch and strengthen at noon on Thursdays. And I'd like to join one of them this month or the following month. And we have also internships. We encourage our students to do internships in various agencies located in Long Island. We have virtual dance classes, free meditation and mindfulness, and resources. These are some of our activities. I can name more if you want.
I think you're doing a great job, and I'm amazed that you're so well prepared for this and also so understanding of the needs of the community. Corey?
All over Zoom, I assume, right? So please, if you could tell our audience, what is the Long Island Volunteer Center and what's its mission?
Glad to do that. We are the Regional Volunteer Center. We were named a New York State Regional Volunteer Center back in 2011, and we're an affiliate of the Points of Light, which is a national, now international, affiliation of volunteer centers across the world. So we represent Nassau and Suffolk counties in that regard, and we match volunteers to needs across the island. And they run the gamut of animals and environment, special needs, adults and children, education, and as well basic needs of the community. And the whole purpose is to provide a matching mechanism, as I said, but really a platform through the website. And then we also sponsor other community events. And we do our biggest is actually with Nassau Community College. We do the Prom Boutique. Prom Boutique is done in conjunction with Nassau Community College fashion and marketing students as a service learning project. So we just celebrated our 25th anniversary last spring. And it's a really, really exciting way to meet a basic need, but also identify and recognize the courage that it took for a young woman to graduate from school, and now she gets to celebrate that big event because she's done something very remarkable. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. But the main task that we have is to assist individuals who've identified within themselves a desire to give back, and we try to help them channel that energy or enthusiasm or passion to a need that would be a good fit.
And ladies, when was the center actually created? How long ago was that?
We recently celebrated our 25th anniversary. We were incorporated in 1994. We are a nonprofit, and the founder was Joan Imhoff. She passed, but we still hold her memory strong and honor her commitment to volunteerism across Long Island.
And if someone's volunteering today, do they volunteer virtually and just as we are doing this interview now? Or yes. Do they come to your center?
No, we are not open for that possibility right now. We will hopefully have the capabilities to do that. We're now putting together safety guidelines for volunteers, but everything is done right now virtually. And there are opportunities for programs asking for help with seniors, reaching out like a buddy phone system. And there's other opportunities too. A lot of nonprofits right now have to actually be working remotely. So they are finding ways for volunteers to be as well virtual volunteers. And a good example of this would be a hotline where you can do that as a virtual volunteer. Once you go through the training and you've had the necessary orientation. Oh, and that's one other thing I wanted to just mention. And Corey, you brought it up as to mission and that sort of thing. Agencies, when they are bringing on volunteers, it's not just a show up kind of proposition. Agencies, nonprofit agencies across the island, they need to onboard the volunteer, which means, you go through maybe a simple application process. You may need to, fill out a questionnaire. And it's just a necessary part. So sometimes it can feel a little frustrating if you have this desire and you can't make it happen immediately. So you just have to be, kind of patient with the process and realize that, once you become an affiliated volunteer with a nonprofit, it's a big honor. It's a real privilege to do that.
So let's talk about the COVID-19 pandemic. What's your organization doing to help people?
Well, as I said, one of the biggest community needs was identified as food insecurity. So part of what we're doing is lining up and referring volunteers to support that effort, and that's running the gamut of food pantries and soup kitchens and and large-scale top-tier food agencies as well who are utilizing volunteers for that purpose. That's a hands-on activity, and those have to be done with a great appreciation and respect for social distancing and other needs, just for safety concerns. The other things that we're doing is trying to keep track of any other virtual volunteer opportunities, and we will have a better feel for that, and we'll be posting those to the website once we've done that survey that I mentioned early on in the program.
And can you tell us also, how about the volunteer opportunities for people? I think there's so many people who really want to do something during this pandemic, but they just don't know how or where, or should they collect money or go neighborhood to neighborhood? Can you give us some idea of some of the opportunities that might be available?
Well, definitely the food drives would be something good to do, and you can do that by neighborhood. I mean, you could ask your neighbors to leave food on your stoop and then get them to a food agency that's doing the distribution. That's just one simple idea. Another would be to become a person that is an advocate for either social justice or health concerns that have been identified through this pandemic, especially in at-risk communities where they've been adversely affected by the disease. Even thinking about becoming a volunteer in a healthcare agency. There could be opportunity for virtual volunteering for reaching out to patients, to individuals that have had issues with any kind of health that needs to be addressed. Now, that would be through an organized process, of course, through a healthcare agency. But we've got on the website several that are dedicated to nursing homes, to organizations that do advocacy for health. And then there's others that are responsible for special needs. And I really feel that communities most vulnerable are those that have individuals that cannot leave their homes. So that's definitely a unique population.
I have a feeling that if someone volunteers, you will find the right match for them, whether they're a carpenter, a veterinarian, a doctor, or a person who could just help out through exercise classes or strength classes or something like that.
Absolutely. Well, sometimes we even go a little extra to find that good fit because there are so many other opportunities that may not be on the website, but can be researched through just community needs. And this is where I really want to do a nice shout out to our communications coordinator. It's Pat Moynihan. She just goes the extra mile to help find that good fit.
And let's not forget, Bill, that our students use your services, Diana. Not only the students, but also faculty members. You have a great percent of your volunteers through Nassau Community College.
I got to tell you, you are our biggest cheerleader, and I'm yours.
I think for both you ladies, that's a great experience from the school and the organization. What better real life experience? We can sit in a classroom, but someone who's going out there working with people in any capacity, they're learning more than they ever could from a book or a classroom or even the best of professors.
That's correct.
I know. And Banji, you're so modest. She heads your service learning across campus and responsible for channeling all that great energy from your student population to meaningful volunteer activity at nonprofit agencies. And I got to tell you, it's just like love in action to see it happen for these young people and to impact the nonprofit agencies reaching in the community. It's a win-win. Just such a great.
By the way, before we go back to Corey, and I want to give him his chance, but if someone wants to get in touch with you, either to volunteer or maybe they need some of the services or would like to know more, how do they contact the Long Island Volunteer Center?
LongIslandVolunteerCenter.org. That's all spelled out and strung together. You can search, and then the volunteer opportunities will populate, and then you can apply once you've registered as a volunteer. So it's really a simple process. And then the other thing I do want to mention is some of the not automated volunteer opportunities, meaning they're more ad hoc and we're trying to direct a volunteer to a need, you would find that on the COVID-19 page of the website.
Thank you. Beautiful. Corey?
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Corey Kaufman, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about volunteering opportunities here on Long Island in the light of the coronavirus pandemic with Diana O'Neill, the Board of Directors, members, and treasurer, and retired executive director of the Long Island Volunteer Center, along with Evangeline Manjares, the Dean of Academic and Student Services here at Nassau Community College, which does a lot of work with the center. So I saw on your website that you're also accepting cloth mask donations. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Because I still see people walking around without masks on. I don't know whether they don't want to wear it or they don't have one because, when the lockdown went into place, I personally didn't have a mask for the first few weeks. You just could not get them in stores. People were walking around with scarves on their face.
I know, Corey, you're right. And that was one of the aspects of our Giving Tuesday campaign where we were trying to raise funds for PPE for strictly volunteers. And the money that we raised for that purpose, we are going to secure PPE for RotaCare, which is a free healthcare clinic in Uniondale that serves the poorest of the poor. And we knew early on there was going to be a real need for masks. So what we've done is applied to New York State VOAD to be part of a group effort to request masks from the New York State office. And once we have those, we will be using them to hand out to any organization, any nonprofit that will be employing volunteers, if you will, in their necessary work. We want to make sure that all individuals are equipped, properly equipped with masks, but it depends on the vulnerability of the work being done. It could require more than masks. It could require goggles. It could require gowns. It could require a face shield or a bonnet or booties, So there's a lot to think through here in terms of how to best protect volunteers and those they serve. It's a really necessary aspect to the condition of the new normal. But also I wanted to say that I've been so impressed by local legislators that have been doing mask drives and handing them out to seniors, which is really an important campaign, I think. But you bring up a good point. Who are we missing and how do we equip them so that we're taking care of their personal safety? It's really a necessary, I think, ingredient to the human condition. If we don't start taking this seriously as a personal protective issue, we could not only infect ourselves but others. And I just love what Rosie Perez said at the governor's conference, press conference, when she was talking to the Brooklynites that I wear a mask to respect you. If you wear your mask, you're respecting me. And I just feel like it's such an important aspect to really the new condition we're living under.
Right. These masks are going to frontline workers, the nurses. Well, I'm sure everybody saw the pictures that they're having to work in these conditions and they're wearing garbage bags as gowns.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
It's that unfortunately was an incredible insight into how underprepared we all were to a crisis of this nature. But that said, everyone knows what is needed to protect going forward, and we have to have good behavior. And I really believe once we have even gotten to the next stage of social restrictions, that we can't take it lightly. We can't just put it all behind us and say, now we're back to a full free course of action. Well, we're not. And we really need to do what's necessary for that level of respect for each other.
Anna and Evangeline, tell us about the food distribution and donations. What should we know about that could either help us if we have a neighbor or someone in our family who's in need? or if we wish to donate?
Yeah, we have a lady in charge. I'm sure Diana knows her, Sharon. Sharon is in charge of we call it the nest. And I believe you can leave your donations in one area at the college and put them in our food pantry is now located in South Hall. And it's always in our website how you can get your donations or your supply.
And is there anything else we should know? If someone wants to come, do they call ahead to come, or do they just stop by?
I think there's a number you can call.
Okay. And Diana, if someone does want to come, should they say, can I come at 10 o'clock this morning or Friday night, or how do they go about that to do it properly and with protocol today?
Right. Good question. If you go to our Facebook page, it's Long Island Volunteer Center, an affiliate of Hands On Network. We have posted food drives that we are aware of, and we generally get the information the week of. So, like, for instance, the Mary Brennan Inn had a food drive last Saturday during a certain period of time, and they gave very specific instructions on where to drop it off, and also a list of food items that were desperately needed by the soup kitchen. So you will see that these ad hoc drives or organized drives like that one will come up, and you can look for them either, as I said, on Facebook, and if we have enough notice, we could post it on the website. But it's very, very important, Bill, I'm glad you brought it up, to just not show up. It's really kind of against all the protocols. You really do have to either call ahead, and you also should be sure that if you're doing a drive or pulling together resources, money, what have you, to support an agency, that they are aware of it. That the goodness of your heart also needs to be in line with how it's going to be organized.
And those are great points. Thank you for pointing that out to us and to the audience, because we mean well, but we might be going about it the wrong way or at the wrong time or in the wrong direction. And this way we work with you and we can all maximize our potential that way. Corey?
We have also heard that blood donations are also needed at this time. Can you tell us a little bit about what your organization is doing?
We are putting the word out that they're needed, but I don't believe there's any place on the island that's collecting. I know in the city there have been some drives set up. We used to sponsor an annual blood drive. That was our September 11 National Day of Service project, and it was so well received and so well done. So we'd like to get back to that again someday, but our focus now is to at least get the word out that blood is needed and keep track of the places where it's being collected.
And how about self-care organizations? Helpful to you? Do you help them? How does that work in your organization?
What you mean by self-care?
Well, if someone needed, I guess, let's say someone at home once a day to come by and maybe make a meal for them, or once a week them just have a friendly voice to know they're still around. I'm thinking of the older person, or maybe someone who has some incapacities. They're not unable to do their job, but they're limited. Let's put it that way.
Right. You've really touched on a need. And right now, there aren't as many organized efforts around that, other than nonprofit agencies looking out for those that their clients, if you will. They know that they have needs, and so they're trying to meet them. But they're actually doing a lot of that through staff, not volunteers yet. But that will change as the social restrictions are lifted. So my suggestion to anyone who would like to get involved in that kind of work is keep tabs on the agencies that are doing it, and as well align yourself in advance. You remember I told you there's a process to apply as a volunteer. Align yourself in advance with an organization like that and see if you can't have all those steps covered, and then when it's time to get out there and start doing some food delivery or some friendly visiting, then that you're ready to go. But there are several that are doing food delivery now, and I can't think of the actual name of it. It'll come to me, but we do have them promoted on the website.
Let's turn to Evangeline for a second to talk about volunteer opportunities that exist right here at Nassau Community College. Well, not right here, we're on Zoom. Can you tell us, for example, about the Center for Applied Learning? What exactly is applied learning?
Okay, it's the State University of New York that has called our program Applied Learning, but other institutions like St. Joseph's College, Hofstra University, and other colleges and universities around us, we call it experiential learning. And the goal of applied learning is for our students to learn by doing, and by doing, they learn. So there are three aspects of applied learning. We want our students to know how to discover, do research, do entrepreneurial ventures, field study, and also SUNY works. We expect students to do their clinical placements if they are in the health program, internships and cooperative education, and SUNY serves. This is where volunteerism comes in. Now, what happens if students want to volunteer? We normally would refer them to Diana's organization because she has a smorgasbord of programs and agencies that hire volunteers. And we believe that by doing volunteer work, our students are able to connect with others. It's good for their mind and body. It helps advance one's career. And it's fun and very fulfilling. And of course, it allows students to test drive a career path. So these are all the reasons why applied learning is so important in every college and institution for our students.
Diana, before we wrap up, please tell us once again how we can get in touch with your organization, the Long Island Volunteer Center.
The website, longislandvolunteercenter.org. Our phone number is 516-564-5482.
Easy enough to remember. We thank you so much and would like our audience to know that today we've been talking to Diana O'Neill, member of the Board of Directors. She's the treasurer and retired executive director of the Long Island Volunteer Center, along with Evangeline Manjares. She is the Dean of Academic and Student Services right here at Nassau Community College. Ladies, on behalf of WHPC, thank you for the work you're doing. Please continue it, and we hope we can all take part and stay in touch with the station so we can let people know what you can do for them and how we can help you. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Corey Kaufman. We want to thank you for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We'd like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to whpc@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.